you're going to embrace that community bank feel. You want to talk to a decision maker. You want to talk to somebody that you run into when you're at Kroger's. We feel like that we're here to give back, and if we're going to be successful in this community, it's all about what are we contributing to the community. And frankly, staying focused in rural markets is important to us. So when I started in banking 40 years ago, we had 15,000 banks in this country. Today we only have about 5,000 banks in this country. And the number of banks are getting smaller and smaller. And what's happening is our larger regionals are exiting these small rural markets. So we opened 2 brand new branches in 2024. We went to Maysville, Kentucky, which we love, our new office in Maysville. And we opened in Portsmouth, Ohio. But guess why we opened in both of those markets? Number one is they're strong markets. They're great communities. They're small, and the big guys are leaving there. So U.S. Bank announced closing both of those markets. And so we decided we need to come to town and fill the gap. And so we come to town, and I'll give you an example. We'll do like we done the very first state bank night in Maysville, Kentucky, right? And so what happens is my team over there will go to a high school basketball game, and we will manage the concessions for the local Maysville basketball team. And so we're serving hot dogs, we're serving popcorn, we're managing the concessions for one night. And then during halftime, we gave a nice check back to the athletic department. And so that's how we give back. And you know, when you go to the soccer game, you don't see many big bank names on those little soccer jerseys. You see First State Bank, because we are here to serve this community. We get involved in give back programs. We find charities that we get involved with and our employees love that part. We pick a nonprofit, and we'll go trim the shrubs up at the veterans home in Georgetown and plant flowers and clean up the flower beds, and we just take a day and we'll take donuts to the veterans over there, and we'll just that's just how we are. We'll spend a day at the Ronald McDonald House, or just a lot of cool things that we do where our employees love it and we're giving back. Our culture is strong enough where people know who we are before they get here. Being out here in the small rural markets, most of the traffic is headed towards Cincinnati. So here's Mike Pell's deal. Mike Pell's deal is if you got some talent and you want to work for our company, you're coming the opposite direction. So we're recruiting from the Cincinnati market. I got guys that are working here from Loveland and Milford, and they're headed the opposite direction. And they're coming out here and working in my little small space out here in the rural market, so they don't have to fight traffic. We got a great community we're building out here, and I think more people are liking that. And frankly, we're not that far from the market. We want to really be the first stop of folks that want to leave the urban market. So if you're headed east out of Cincinnati, your first stop may be Maysville, it may be Georgetown, it may be Winchester, it may be Wilmington. These are all markets that are just about 30 to 45 minutes from the 275 belt in Cincinnati. And what we're finding is people don't want to live in the urban markets. They want to find a little piece of ground out in the country where it's a little quieter. And hey, by the way, if you can stop in and work for a company that cares about their people and cares about their community, you get that opportunity too. So we're pretty protective of that, and we think that's a recipe for us to continue to hire talent. Our company has got some significant growth, and we're headed in the right direction. The transformation is that if they've tried the big shops and they had an issue, and they had to call 1-800-Cincinnati and get a recording, and hey, leave your number and I'll call you back, that gets frustrating. And I think when they find out that they can walk into one of my branches, and we have decision makers in each of our locations, and frankly, if that doesn't satisfy you, you can walk into the door in Winchester and walk back the hall and see Mike Pell. And so I think once you get the taste of that, then you're not leaving that. And it may not be First State Bank for you, but you're going to embrace that community bank feel. You want to talk to a decision maker. You want to talk to somebody that you run into when you're at Kroger's. That, hey, I know that guy. That guy works at the local bank. And so, or that's the guy that served me popcorn at the Mason County basketball game, right? Banking, we all got the same money. It's all green. We all have basically the same services, but it's just, what are you really buying? You're buying the relationship, and you're buying the people that you're surrounding yourself with. So once you get a taste of that, you're not leaving that. I mean, built on belief is a lot about my belief in the communities that we're serving, my belief in our people. I believe if we can help, more people be successful, our company's going to be successful. I think, I'm a man of faith. Built on belief is a little bit about my personality and what I believe in. And I think if you can just be genuine, if you believe in the communities you're serving, that community will want to do business with you. The McFarlands has just been good about making investments in our community. And the car business is very similar to the banking business. We need local decision makers to make good things happen. They're hiring local people that we run into. So I've had a long relationship with the McFarlands. Barry was on my board for a long time and very well respected businessman. He and I done business a lot together even before I was at First State Bank, and we're happy that they're continuing to invest in our local communities with this dealership base. And frankly, car business, again, is a lot like the banking business. If you got a small community bank in your community and you got a car dealer in your community, you're a strong community, and that makes us strong. So we want to do our best to keep that ownership local.